Welcome to the Breadwinning Women Show, Alma. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yes, me too.
So, for those that are tuning in, we're really going to dive into the topic of automating your business, and in particular, being able to automate your sales. And Alma is a master at this. She's been able to really get significant traction in her business, be able to have sales coming in on autopilot while she gets to travel and do different things that she needs to do. She's a mom, she's a wife, right? She has family members that she is tending to. And so it's very important as women entrepreneurs that we are looking at ways to make our businesses run without us. So, Alma, let's go ahead and jump right in by first, let's just telling everybody what your business is so that they're familiar.
Yes. So right now, currently, I teach online courses. I have an online training company, and I have a group coaching, group consulting offer as well. So I do courses and group coaching.
Love it. And you have figured out how to be able to put some of your sales on autopilot, in particular with funnels. So maybe let's just start with helping people understand what the heck is a funnel in the first place.
So a sales funnel, especially, I want to call it an evergreen sales funnel. Okay. An evergreen sales funnel is using technology to automate sales every single day without having to do anything. Like, I mean, you have to do something in the beginning. You have to set it up. Once you set up the technology will just run for you. And right now, the easiest way to set up an evergreen sales funnel is to do it through selling digital products. So when I talk about evergreen sales funnel, I mean a digital product. This could also work for physical products if you have an e-commerce store, but for what I do in my experience and what I've used in my own business has been for digital products. And so that's what an evergreen sales funnel is that we're going to talk about today.
Okay. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now, just to clarify there, Alma, if a person is running like a service-based business, is there a way for, like, does a funnel make sense for them if they, let's just say I'm an accountant or a bookkeeper, does it make sense for me to also try to look into setting some kind of sales funnel for their business?
Yeah, if you're doing a service, so I can tell you, I started my business out with a marketing agency, and over the years, I transitioned, and then I started really just transitioning into online education products, digital products, and group consulting. And I do a little bit of one-on-one consulting, but not like I used to. I used to be fully done for you services, and I transitioned. Someone who is in a done for you service industry, if you're actually doing service work with clients, a sales funnel can be used in two ways. So you could have it where you use a sales funnel to get to book new discovery calls on autopilot. You can do a funnel just for that. But when you do a funnel like that, where you're automating the client discovery process, you can do that. It requires you to get on the phone and sell your service. So you can have a funnel that way. But if you want a completely passive income funnel where you don't do anything, okay, and you're a service provider, you can add in an additional revenue stream to your business by selling digital products. So let's say you're a bookkeeper and you help with accounting and bookkeeping services. You can create an online course on how to do bookkeeping for entrepreneurs or whatever. And it would be a self-study course. People log in online and they take the course, and that's it. That's the whole product. And if you put that on an evergreen sales funnel, that could be a form of passive income for you. So those are the two types of funnels that a service provider can make. The first one is a discovery call funnel, and the other one is a passive income funnel through a digital online course. You can even do a membership site. I have sold membership sites. A membership site is what's different about a membership site from a course is that With a membership site, it's like a monthly subscription, and you put, you're delivering new content, new things every single month to the people that subscribe to your membership program. So that's another way to have recurring revenue. A membership site is also what I call a digital product as well. And that can be automated as well. But the only difference is that there's new content, or there's something new happening every month for people to stay and keep paying you every single month. So that's the difference.
Okay, I love that, Alma. So if you're a service business owner, you really have the option of utilizing a strategy that we're going to talk about today to be able to generate leads. If that's been a challenge for you, to make sure that you can have those leads consistently coming in and get those calls booked so that you can close those clients. Or no matter what type of service you're providing, there could be an opportunity for you to develop something digital around it and then sell that through a funnel. So why should anybody set up a funnel versus using some of the traditional sales methods that we're all familiar with?
Okay, so let me tell you why it's so important. Why did I do it? So I decided I wanted to have a business. I wanted to change the way I was operating things. And as I've been growing, I've had a business for many, many years now. And the last three years is when I made a transition to more digital products and automation. And I could tell you that, thank God for technology.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to use the blessings that God gives us,
Yeah.
and that is technology. And literally, it is a blessing because it's a way to automate. So why not take advantage of automation? But for me, I had some personal things happen in my life, and it had impacted my ability to be productive in my business. And I was like, wait, I got to figure out a way that, regardless of what happens to me in my personal life, whether it's stress, whether it's a family issue that I have to go tend to, whatever it is, I don't want to be tied down to my computer. So when I was growing my marketing business, I had a marketing agency, and I outsourced my work. I had a team of other freelancers that I managed, and we had a boutique agency. So that really helped a lot because I had a team to do client work for me. So I recommend, if you're not going to do a funnel, at least through an agency, like hire help. But even with that, there was one point where my agency, we had this client from hell. Okay. It's that one client that makes you just change your business. And this client was so difficult, and they were paying us a lot of money. And I was like, you know what? I had to fire them. And what happened was I fired them, and I lost significant revenue. And then I was worried, oh my, wow, I fired this person. Now I got to pay my team. What am I going to do? So that got me into learning about passive income and digital products. And so I started researching, and I started learning, experimenting. I launched my own. One of the first things I decided to do was launch a membership site on how to do social media, how to do marketing. And so what happened was I was like, I want a business that gives me freedom. Like, it doesn't make, and I've been doing this for I've tried a lot of different business models. Okay. Even before I had my agency, I tried other businesses. The agency was very profitable. I was able to quit my job and do it full time. So I'm really grateful for that experience. But I just realized what I really wanted was I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to travel. I want to be able to disappear for 4 weeks, go to wherever I want to go, and not have to get on my computer and still make money. And like, what can I do? So I came across this whole world of selling digital products. And so I decided to switch over, and I started selling a membership site. I started selling courses. And then I was doing, and the first year that I started launching my digital product business with online training, I was doing like live webinars all the time. I was doing these launches, right? And the launches were very profitable, but it was very exhausting, like so exhausting to constantly do launches. And I know you probably know because you've done them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I was like, I just don't want to have a business where I'm doing all these damn launches. So I decided I spent like a week and a half, and I built an automated evergreen funnel. And that funnel has made me 6 figures on autopilot.
Love it.
It has made me 6 figures. And, that's just one funnel. I have multiple different funnels. But that, combine, I have a multiple six-figure business, which gives me so much free time. I don't really work that many hours. I'm able to travel. I'm able to take time off just to I don't want to be always doing live streams every damn week, right? Yeah. So it has saved my life. There's been times where I took off an entire month and didn't do hardly anything. I mean, I've checked emails, things like that, but I took a whole month off pretty much in my business, and I was able to make $20,000 from my evergreen funnel to sell my
Yeah.
digital product.
I love that you're saying this, Alma, because I think for most of us, especially women, right, we start businesses because we want freedom and fulfillment. We want to be able to make an impact. We want to create a legacy for our family. But before we know it, we've built a model around our business that has us chained to our laptop, and we're not really being able to travel and do all of the things that we created the business for in the first place. Now, I think there's something really important here that I don't want anyone to miss, because you really made a shift, and there was that defining moment, right, with that really troubled client that made you to make that shift. But for me, there's also a mindset, right, that shifted within you to be okay with making that transition from the agency model to doing more online work, doing more digital products. So can you talk about really what does it mean, number one, like that mindset to shift to doing more in the online world? Some service business owners are still like afraid of really fully stepping into it. And then let's also just talk about the mindset that you need to be in when you're running that kind of evergreen funnel. What kind of mindset do you need to have to operate that successfully?
Yes, yes. So number one, the mindset shift I kind of share even with just personally is that I really like realize that, as business owners, right, life is going to happen. So the problem is a lot of people, they don't set up their business with the right safety systems in place that if something were to happen to them, they can still make money. Most people have, especially service providers, they have a business that if they get sick, if they have to take maternity leave, if something happens, they just need to take off. Guess what happens? They lose money if they are not in there running the business. And I had personal things throughout my years on entrepreneurship. I've had a lot of things happen that, I mean, like I almost lost everything in my business once because I had some personal emergency happen, and I like almost, I lost some clients because I couldn't perform because I had to take care of a personal family thing that was happening. And this is real. Like this is so real. And a lot of people don't, especially a lot of women, they don't want to outsource, they don't want to get help, they don't want to put in automation systems, and they're doing everything manually. Okay. So for me, I was like, no, I want a business. I quit my 9 to 5 job for freedom, and I want freedom. That, to me, freedom is so important. It's more important than money. Freedom is more important than money. If I'm making a lot of money, but I'm doing stressful launches every damn week, and I'm launching every 2, 3 weeks, even every 6 weeks, that's a lot of launches. And I'm stressed out, but I'm making a lot of money, then that's not worth to me. I don't want that. I would rather make less money and have more free time. So for me, I highly value freedom and autonomy.
Yes.
Okay. I value freedom. So that is why everything in my business must be set up so that if I'm not there, we still make money. And then also, when you have an evergreen funnel, what I have found for myself is that I can take off time to be creative. I'm not stressed out as much. I can take space just to work on myself. I can be there for my family when I need to be there. It just gives me so much more freedom to do that. So, what you have to think about is how important is freedom to you? How important is freedom to you? I left my job because I wanted freedom. I wanted to have creative freedom. I wanted schedule freedom. I wanted time freedom, and I wanted financial freedom. And when you have an evergreen funnel, the sky is the limit to how much money you can make, right? You can do a funnel. You can get people into you can sell your courses and memberships. Just, you don't have to spend money on ads, but if you add some Facebook ads on top of that, the sky is the limit as far as how much you can make. Okay. And I have also I do paid ads as well. And everything is automated. The paid advertising engine is finding leads for me every single day. I don't have to go find people. It's finding it for me. It's like my own personal robot. I like to look at automated funnels as having excuse me, it's like you have a personal robot that works for you.
Yeah, everybody needs that robot, right? So let's jump into how does one get started with setting up this automated funnel in their business? What would be the beginning of the process if people are like, oh, I'm feeling you, Alma, this sounds good, but how does this happen for me?
Yeah. So one of the things you need to do is you need to build an audience. The first step is you want to build an audience so that you can sell your courses or your digital products to them. So the foundation of selling digital products consistently is audience. You have to have an audience. I cannot stress this enough because I see a lot of this whole concept of selling online courses has become very popular. If you go on Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see people talking about, oh, you should sell courses. And it's constantly telling you that you should sell courses all the time. The problem I see happening is that a lot of people try to do a course and they fail because they don't invest time and effort in building an audience of buyers. So the first thing you have to build and you have to consistently work on all the time is lead generation. You need to build an audience. So when I say audience, I mean you need to have an email list. Okay. You need to have an email list. And then the other thing I recommend is you also have social media followers, or it doesn't have to be social media. It could be YouTube subscribers, a podcast audience. But you want to have an email list and then combine it with some type of platform where you can really interact with those people that are on your email list. Invite those people to follow you on XYZ platform. You do not have to be on every single platform. One thing I'm going to tell you right now, don't try to be everywhere. Just pick one or two. If you like Instagram, just focus on Instagram and have an email list. So you have an email list and the same people on your list are following you on Instagram, or the people on Instagram are on your email list. So they need to work together in cohesion. That is the foundation of an engaged audience of people who will buy from you. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're not already taking notes, you need to get your notebook out because this is super critical. I 100% agree with that, Alma. One platform, don't be a master of none, have a place of focus.
The other mistake people make is sometimes all they do is they just focus on social media and they don't build their email list. And you should never do that. These social media platforms can change their mind. They could shut down your account. They could go out of business. I mean, we don't know how long Facebook is going to be. I mean, we don't know.
Right.
Anything, YouTube or this or that. So you don't want to only have people on social media and not have your email list. Your email list. My email list is responsible for over $500,000 in sales, just from my email list. Okay. So that should be the foundation of your business. Okay, go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
No, that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Okay. So step one is really building up that audience or community that you're going to be able to sell to later, right? So this audience and community should definitely not just be random people, right? But I was really talking about these people that would fit your ideal buyer avatar, your ideal customer profile, the people that you are a good fit for whatever your signature service is going to be. So once we have that audience and community, then what would be the next step we take from there?
So once you have it, I would say you need about 500 to 1,000 people. Once you have that in place, then you want to do a live webinar to sell your course or your membership program. And one of the things I tell people, again, this is another big mistake that people make, is they try to create the course before anybody buys it. And I highly, and I'm against that 100%. Do not do that, because you're going to waste time. You don't know, right? You don't know if people are going to buy your course. You may think your course is so exciting and everybody should get it, but then people don't buy it because it's not what the way you marketed it wasn't good enough. Like, it wasn't precise enough to get them to want to buy it. So what I recommend you do is you do a webinar and you do a pre-sale. You pre-sell your program without making any of the content. Once people, you do your webinar, and then you pitch at the end of the webinar and say, hey, I just opened up a new program. It's an online course, or it's a membership site. This is the price. If you're interested, here's the link. Then you can see if people buy it, then you say, okay, now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create the course. And then what I recommend you do is, the first time you launch your course or your membership program, is you tell people, hey, this is going to be like a 2-week program or whatever, and over this time frame, I'm going to release different lessons in the program. So this way you can release it, over time, and they know that it's going to come. Okay. And then you're going to use that time to create the course. And that's how you launch. What people are doing is, a lot of people are getting all excited about selling online courses, and, oh my gosh, I want to be a millionaire selling courses. And they're just going and creating the course and nobody's buying it. Or they're not selling through a webinar. A webinar is a sales presentation. That is how you sell your courses. That's how I sell my courses on Evergreen. I have an automated webinar funnel that's always running 24/7. And I'm able to make money, right? So you have to perfect your webinar, and the other thing you really need is, you need good digital marketing skills. You need to know what to say and when to say it. Because if you don't know that, nobody will buy your program or your product. Nobody will buy it. You have to know persuasion. I don't know, I said that wrong.
No worries.
Yeah, you have to have persuasion, and you have to know how to do copywriting. Okay, copywriting, persuasion skills. These are digital marketing skills. You need digital marketing skills. You have to become a marketer for this to be successful. So even if you're like a life coach, if you're someone who does something that's completely nothing to do with marketing, right? You can't be afraid to learn digital marketing skills so that you can do your own digital marketing and your own messaging, because it's going to be more powerful when you're able to say and communicate the value of your program, because you're most likely you're talented, you have a great skill set, and you want to help other people through your digital product or program. But you have to know how to communicate, and you need good persuasion skills. Persuasion, I said it right this time. Persuasion. That's the art of being able to convince someone to pay you.
Yeah. And I love this, Alma. Let's just unpack some of this, because you said so much good, juicy stuff in there. So the second step really from there is that they're after they have taken the time to build up the audience, right? They're going to pre-sell whatever their offer is, and they're going to use a webinar to be able to pre-sell the offer. So do you have any key tips for someone who's like putting together this webinar? What might be sort of 3 or 4 core points that they really need to hit on in their webinar to have it be an effective sales presentation?
Yeah. So one of the things is, the thing that's going to make people buy is psychological triggers. You got to use a lot of mindset and psychology when you deliver. And so you want to, what I recommend people do is teach a topic in the webinar, maybe teach like the 3 things you need to do to become a health coach or whatever. Whatever. Maybe you have a course on teaching people how to become a life coach. I don't know. Let's just use that as a popular topic. How to become a life coach, right? Maybe you've been a life coach for years and you want to show other women how to start a life coaching business, right? I would do a webinar on the 3 things that you need to do to run a successful life coaching business. But so you're going to be teaching these 3 topics, but not only that, you have to go into the psychology as to why should someone become a life coach? What is the urgency, right? Then you also have to understand someone who wants to become a life coach, you have to go deep into their mind. Why would someone, like, you have to understand what are some of the pain points that your ideal customer has? What are the pain points they're experiencing in their personal life or professional life? And you really have to like document what their true not just that, you need to understand what keeps this person up at night. It's not about, oh, that would be nice to become a life coach. It is there's a deep psychological problem that most people have, that they will do anything to fix that problem, and that means paying thousands of dollars to you.
Yeah.
When you go deep into the subconscious mind as to what keeps this person up at night, people will pay a lot of money to solve a very urgent problem. I'm talking thousands of dollars to solve a problem that keeps them up at night. When you're able to go into and find that and go deep, do some really deep psychological analysis on your ideal client, and you can find what that is, and you take those things out and you put that in your webinar, okay? And that's how you're going to get them to open up their wallets and pay you. And I noticed that people don't do that. They don't go into what keeps this, like somebody who wants to become a life coach. I'm going to give you an example. What could be keeping that person up at night? You know what's keeping them up at night? They're in a 9-to-5 job that they hate, and they hate their boss. And every night they lay in bed and they say, I just got to do something that's more fulfilling. I'm not happy at my job. And there's people that hate their job so much that they can't sleep at night, literally. And I know Jamila and you and I were in that situation.
Yeah.
When we used to work. That's one. Another thing, let's say you have a course on how to lose weight, because you're a health practitioner and you know how to do like the keto diet or some type of meal plan or whatever, and you want to help people eat healthy and lose weight and get their energy back or whatever. What is keeping someone up at night, right? Your ideal client, what is keeping? So that would be someone who wants to lose weight or get healthy. You know what's keeping up at night? The way they look. They don't feel comfortable with how they look. They don't feel like they don't have energy anymore. They don't feel productive, and they can't stop thinking about that, right? So think about what is what is keeping them. Literally, they're lying in bed and they're worrying about this damn problem.
Yeah.
And that is your whole webinar needs to be about that. Okay, I just hope I really got that message across.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? So anybody who wasn't sure what a psychological trigger is, right? Alma just really dived into what it is. It's going deep into what is on their mind, what are the pains, what are the things the conversations that they're having inside their head. That's really what you want to unpack. And you can do that by, interviewing past customers, interviewing potential customers, having these conversations so that you can be able to pull that information out. I think the best way is to do that in a recorded conversation where you can go back, you can transcribe it, go through it later, and be able to highlight everything that they said that was emotionally driven, right?
Yes.
Exactly what they're focused on. So perfect. Are you going to add something there, Alma?
Yeah. Also, look, what's a good place to get information about your ideal customer is Facebook groups. Facebook groups are like the number one place. People have told me, Alma, you're reading my mind. How did you know I was thinking that? It is because that person's in my Facebook group and I've seen them comment. So what you do is you go into a Facebook group with your ideal client and you look at how they talk about things, how they comment, look at the conversations they're having. And I have a Facebook group. I have like 11,000 people in it. And it's designed I've had this group for like 3 years, and it was designed to be a place where I can get market research on my ideal client. And I look at their comments, I look at what they talk about, I look at, their pain points. They're constantly complaining about something. And I'm like, okay, I see a trend. I notice that people keep talking about this one thing that just bothers them the most. For me, because I help women who are service providers, the number one problem female service providers have is pricing. They're just like, how much money should I charge?
Yeah.
So I have like webinars all about pricing, and people were like, oh, Alma, if you show me how to price, I'll pay you. It's so that's just one example, right? So you go into Facebook groups. They have Facebook groups for real estate agents. They have Facebook groups for bookkeepers. They have Facebook groups for stay-at-home moms. All types of topics and niche communities are on Facebook in these groups. So that's the first thing I would do is, and I literally, you spend hours in those groups. You get so much market research, so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And it's good to just go in and just listen, just pay attention, read, listen, and understand exactly what people are talking about and use their exact words, their
Yes,
phrases, right? Hit on
yes.
those pain points that they're sharing. Okay,
Let me
so I
just
love that.
jump
Go
in one
ahead.
more thing. So the other thing that I've done over the years is I've done a lot of interviews. So what you said earlier about interviews is very, very perfect. This is like perfect. Interview your ideal client. And I got on the phone with hundreds of people, hundreds of people. And, it wasn't the best, talking to all those people, that's a lot. But I learned so much from them. I learned everything that makes them tick. And that's what I used to sell. Like, so I'm going to tell you right now, it's worth spending time doing these customer interviews because you're going to have so much information to write on your sales page. And the other thing is too, I have sold in addition, I sell online courses that are pretty affordable. One of my courses is $1,000. Another one, I had a membership site that was like $35 a month. Those are easy to sell. I've also sold $5,000 and $6,000 packages. Okay. When you start selling high ticket, okay, I've sold low ticket and high ticket. When you start selling thousands of dollar coaching packages, you really have to know what makes this person keeps them up at night. The more expensive your offer is, the more you need to get into the psychology because anybody would buy like a $47 course. Nobody cares. It's like nothing.
Yeah,
$47. Okay.
impulse buy, impulse.
Yeah. But when you're selling two, three, four, five, six, seven, $10,000 programs, you gotta know, you got to get in there. And so everything I'm telling you about, this knowing persuasion and psychology is not just for selling digital products, it's also for selling your coaching one-on-one, your done for you services. If you're going to sell a expensive done for you service, you can use the same techniques as well.
Love that. All right. So they're going to pre-sell on their webinar, use the psychological triggers.
Mhm.
And then I'm imagining you're using, in most cases for a funnel, you're using some kind of technology to actually have all of this work together. So what strategies or tips would you share there, Alma, to have this? What do they need to do now to have all this working on autopilot for them?
Yeah. So number one, the first thing is I want to really emphasize this is you want to do a live webinar. Don't try to build this funnel and you never did it live, right? You got to do it live so you can get feedback and you'll know what works, what doesn't work. I actually recommend you maybe do it not just once, maybe twice, just to kind of test out different angles of the webinar message and different angles to come at it from like sales. But I've done like multiple live webinars. I did a lot actually. And I was able to figure out what words will get people to say yes. And then I took that information and I packaged it into, and I set up the evergreen webinar funnel because I knew that this is a thing. If I say these things, this is what's going to work, right? So the first step is try to do one or two live webinars. Once you get it, that you got some sales, and once you make money and you validated that this offer is going to sell and people are going to pay based on the message, right? Now you're ready to automate it. And so the first thing is number one, don't try to build your own damn course platform. Okay. Don't do that. I see a lot of people trying to build like a WordPress site to host their course. That is so waste of time. So number one, pick a learning management system. I recommend Teachable, Kajabi, Thinkific, Podia is good. I haven't tried Podia, but I heard it's really good.
Yeah, I
Use
love Teachable personally.
Yeah, I use Teachable. Just use a tool that is designed to host your courses and help you. Teachable even has like a payment button. They help you set your payments up, so they take care of all that. Just use one of those, and their payment plan they're not expensive. That's the first step. And then the second step, as far as tools, you can, one of the things you have to have, you got to invest in a good um, landing page tool software. So I recommend either ClickFunnels or Lead Pages. They have templates for you to actually have a webinar right on there. So especially ClickFunnels even has templates for automated webinars as well. So, get one of those platforms. Do not try to make it up yourself. Okay. Do not do that, because ClickFunnels and Lead Pages is another great software. Lead Pages is actually cheaper than ClickFunnels, so you can use that too as well. I use both actually.
I do too.
I love their just I'm obsessed with funnels, so I'm like a little nerd. So to me, that's like, oh, I get to experiment. So invest in one of those tools.
Yeah.
Then,
Before
like
you
I said,
go any further, let me just make this clear for anyone who's not familiar with these platforms already. So what Alma's saying is that after you've perfected your webinar and you know it's good, you're going to need a place for people to go and opt in, right? To give you their name and email address so that they can watch it in the future when you're not doing it live. So the evergreen part is moving it from a live to having it be like Netflix, right? You can go in and watch it on demand. And so you're going to need something that a page, right? So that's where your ClickFunnels or Lead Pages comes in, where people can actually give you their name and email address so that they can then go on their own time to be able to watch your webinar. So just wanted to make sure anybody who is a newbie to those softwares, and we'll make sure to drop links to all of the tools that Alma's mentioning in the show notes so you can go and check them out.
yes.
Go ahead, Alma.
Yeah. So, okay. So use a tool, use the templates. They have templates that are pre-designed. And one thing I like is you don't have to even be a good graphic designer, because all you have to do is change the color and stick your logo on it, and you're ready to go. And you can change the text. So use that. Then what you want to have is, once people opt into your landing page and now they're watching the webinar, what you need to have is an email sequence follow-up. Okay. I like ConvertKit. I use ConvertKit. There's other email service providers. There's MailChimp, there's ActiveCampaign. Which one do you use, by the way? You don't mind me asking?
Yeah, we're using ActiveCampaign right now, but we're doing a migration back to ConvertKit. So
Okay, I gotta ask you, if you don't mind sharing, why did you decide to go back? Because I was like, maybe I should try ActiveCampaign.
yeah, because I feel like ActiveCampaign is not as the way that you handle some of your like automations and things you need to do. Let me give it a tangible example. So recently we were doing a campaign. I wanted to give people the option to opt out of that campaign, but still stay on our email list. There is no simple way to do that in ActiveCampaign, right? So you have to set up all these like if-then scenarios, but there's no way for a person to just simply like click themselves and stay on your entire email list, but not get any more emails if they don't want to hear about that specific thing that you're talking about that week. And so I know I could do that very easily with ConvertKit. And now that I was a member of ConvertKit when they were just first getting started, but they didn't have a lot of the connections, and they also didn't allow any design to your emails. And now that, fast forward a couple of years later, they have all of the integrations that you need and they have the design. So I find that I would like to go back to using that service because, hey, we're doing funnels, we're doing some sophisticated things in our business, and you don't need to have learning your email service provider be like a part-time job, right? So it's
No,
like,
and let me tell you, ConvertKit is a very easy to use tool. Like, it's just
yeah,
easy.
super
It's
easy.
very simple. And the thing about this funnel, the email sequence, once somebody opts into your webinar, then you want to send them a series of emails to get them to sign up for the course or sell your membership. So you can do a 5-day sequence or a 7-day sequence. And then that's pretty much it. That's a simple funnel. And ConvertKit is a great tool for funnels, and it's very easy to set up, and anybody can use it. So I highly recommend you set something up, like use ConvertKit.
Yeah. It's really
That's
great. All
really
right.
it.
So,
So that's really it. I mean,
so,
you
so
opt in and then you do the email sequence.
Yeah, so just to review the steps there, right? So first step I'm gonna discuss was to be able to get that community built up, right? Both like in a single social platform that you want to own and also on your email list so that you actually have, control, you have full access to your people. So even those social followers, you want to get them onto your email list, right? Then from there, you want to be able to decide on what you're going to offer and put together some customer interviews so that you can understand the psychological triggers that your people are having, like what pain points they're having, what's on their mind, and then be able to build your webinar to address those psychological triggers. And on that webinar, you're going to be pre-selling your course before you go build it. This is a really big mistake. So I want to make sure you get this. A lot of people try to build it before they pre-sell it. You got to make sure that there's actually validation in the market and that people want it, right? And then from there, once you have a proven webinar, you know that it works, now you can go and create that evergreen process and put everything on demand by using tools like ClickFunnels or Lead Pages to set everything up so that it works for you. Then you can drive your audience there so that they can watch it on demand. And then your email sequence on the back end is going to allow, it's going to be like your salesperson, right? So it's following up with everybody who goes through that automated funnel on their own to encourage them to make a decision to buy. Anything we leave out there, Alma?
That's perfect. You're like the
Okay.
summarizer.
All right, great. And I think it's also important to share for you, like you have a mix going on in your business, right? And so so I think it's important to share with people, what could that mix look like in their business? So it's not that you have to, completely give up, if you're providing a service, but this automation piece really creates that additional freedom that Alma's speaking about. So what does that look like for you inside your business right now? Like, what's the split of your,
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. So this is where, and I love to show people what I'm doing because this way they can learn from it. So I have an evergreen funnel that just makes money every month. Okay, that's just for one product line that I have. And I have like different funnel. I have like a Facebook group funnel to get people into my Facebook group. And then from there, I do live every couple of months. I'll do like a live workshop or a live challenge or a webinar, and then we enroll more people. Um, the other thing is, in addition to my course, which is like a passive, I just call it the passive income product line, I also have a consulting program. So I also have now this consulting program is not passive income. I have to do work to get people. I do like sales calls. And so it's it's kind of like a mastermind group coaching program. My program is called Scale Profits, and it's a group consulting, group coaching. So a lot of people who have taken my courses have said, Alma, I need coaching. I need someone to really help me. I need more accountability. So we set up a group coaching program, and we have right now we have like 30 women in it. This program is several $1,000s. This is not cheap. Okay. So I have that, and that one is more I have to, we do weekly calls. It's kind of like a hybrid between they do get some one-on-ones with me and my team. So it's kind of like a hybrid between one-on-one and group coaching. So it's a consulting program. It's pretty much we're consulting. So that's an example of how you can have you can do one-on-one or more group work that's more requires more of you, and you can also have a passive income stream. Okay, so you can also have the passive income stream coming in, and while if you're doing client work, if you're doing consulting, you can combine both of them. This way, if you want to take a break from clients, or you don't want to go out there and have to do more discovery calls, right? If you don't feel like talking to nobody on the phone. Okay. The problem is with me, I'm an introvert. And I need my space. I love to talk to people. I like to have friends and socialize, but I also need time to just recharge. And I don't want to be on the phone all the time doing sales calls. So what I like about the way I have my business model is I could take a break from selling my other programs and just let the funnel run its course and make money. So that's why I think you can combine this with your one-on-one work.
Yeah, I love this, Alma. Let's talk about that piece on pricing that you hit on, because I think some people may have this misconception that if you're adding this automation to your business and using a funnel to be able to bring in additional sales for your services, that it has to be a low ticket offer, right? You're offering something that's $27 or $47, because we do see a lot of that online. So, share with people, how pricing works when it comes to the funnel.
Okay, so right now the funnel that I have for that product is $1,000. That's how much it costs. It's like $997. We have a payment plan, and honestly, the payment plan is what makes it easy for people to buy. Because if you don't want to pay up front, you just do the payment plan, and it's pretty reasonable. So when you're doing a funnel, what I find is that funnels are really good, especially if it's like past, like when I say an evergreen funnel for a digital product, it means that they get a link to buy the program. You don't have to do a sales call at the end. There's some funnels you can do where you do a call. But if you want a purely passive income revenue stream and you don't want to get on a call with nobody, just want to relax and go on vacation, what I recommend when it comes to pricing is that that evergreen funnel should not be more than $2,000. So a good price point is anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 for a course. There are some people that have a $2,000 funnel, like they have a $2,000 product, but it's not easy to sell $2,000 on an evergreen funnel. So there are a few people who've been able to do it really well, but you have to test it out, see if it works. See if it works. If you want to sell it for $2,000, you can. It's all about testing. Okay. But if easy price for people to say yes is anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Now, I don't really recommend that you go below $500 if you because if you're going to be doing, let's say you want to do paid ads, right? And you're selling something for $27. There's some people that have funnels where they sell like a low end product, like a $27 product. But the reason why it's profitable if they're doing ads is because they're also upselling people on the back end to higher end stuff. So it evens out. In order to do they call it the SLO funnel, okay? SLO funnel or tripwire funnel. You got to have a good upsell system in the back. If you don't know how to do that, you don't know how to do Facebook ads and you have no clue, do not try to do this. For that to be successful, you need to know ads really well. You got to be like a master like marketer. So I don't recommend that you start out like that. I think you should start out with something that's going to give you a lot of money up front, which is a $500 or $1,000 course. Now, you can also do this for a membership site, and membership sites can be anywhere from $30 a month to $50 a month to $97 a month to $150. I mean, I've seen membership sites that are like $297 a month, right? And they're doing well. You can also do a funnel for that where, you do a webinar and then you get people in and they pay monthly. That works well because, it's monthly payment. So that typically people will stay. If you have a good membership site, people will stay in your membership site for 6 months. And so you'll get the money over. And then you can offer an annual payment discount. Like if they pay for the whole year, they get a discount. So it works really well for membership sites too. Like I said, you just have to really, you want your membership site. The thing about, we didn't talk about this, but a membership site where people are paying every month, it's a great way to get people to easily come into your funnel and go and become a customer. The only problem with that is that people will drop off. So you just have to manage your churn rate, churn is the amount of people that leave every month from your membership site. So you always have to be getting like new people, but it can work really well even with a membership site. Like I said, I recommend if you want to make money and you want cash, you want to get a cash infusion, start out with a program that's $500 to $1,000. Okay. Just start with there. Start with that. and make the money that way. Then you can try other things if you want in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I love this. So it's really just thinking about, number one, like what's the price point that you need to be at for your business to be profitable? Because I think people have this big misconception of like, oh, I created this digital product and it's not costing me anything, but there's still all the work and everything that you put in, even if a lot of it is upfront. And then you have to consider if you're using ads to drive your leads, then there's a cost associated with getting those ongoing customers. So, number one, price profitably, right? Make sure that there is money left over at the end of the day so that you have money to put in the bank outside of the expenses that you're spending on your ads and all of that stuff, right? And then Alma saying that from a pricing perspective too, you want to look at people are going to feel more comfortable making that instant decision on a lower price point, like that $500 to $1,000, where they might have a payment plan to be able to span it out over time. But certainly you can sell something that's a little higher ticket at around that $2,000 range. But when you're getting in that range, you definitely want to make sure that your psychological triggers, your messaging, and all of those things are really tight so that you can be able to compel someone to make a decision without having a conversation at that higher price point. So I love that, Alma. It's really, really key points for people to take away.
Just real quick, I wanted to also put in there, you can also have a high ticket funnel. So you can, but the thing about if you have a high ticket funnel, that's something that's more than $2,000. Like maybe you have a coaching program that's $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Typically, if you could do a webinar to sell that program on Evergreen Automatic. However, you have to sell it through a phone call. So like after, when you do your webinar, instead of sending them a link to sign up, you're going to say, okay, book a call with me. And then you have them book a call and then you sell it. That would work for a high ticket. You can experiment with it, see if it works, right? It's all about
Yeah.
experimentation.
Yeah. I love saying that. I think as business owners, right, it's our job to figure out, to really just take the whole thing as an experiment, right? Constantly testing and tweaking, testing and tweaking. I love this, Alma. So many great nuggets and sales automation and being able to really get this set up in your business. And again, whether you want to have this as something in addition to what you're already doing in your services, it can absolutely work for you. And transform your business, be able to create that freedom and fulfillment in your lifestyle. You're about to add something in there.
No, I think it's great.
Okay. All right, perfect. So I would just say to wrap up, Alma, are there any additional tips that you would share with people that are really considering adding sales automation, to their business, that they should think about in the process?
Yeah, you have to think about your value system. What do you value in life? That's number one. Once you're clear on what's important, what are your priorities in life, what are your values, and you're crystal clear about that, then from there you can make a decision. So if you say, I value freedom, I want to travel, I want to just not have to work for a couple of weeks, like me, then you're going to put in time and money to set up an evergreen sales system. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to take upfront work.
Yeah.
Once you put in that work, though, then you can relax and you can collect your checks. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, you really, really could just sit back. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I see sales coming in, just, $1,000. Someone just paid $1,000. Bam. I didn't do anything. All right. The feeling of waking up to automated money is like, it's just unbelievable. And like, I'm so
It's like
grateful.
Christmas every day.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just so grateful to God. I'm just so grateful that He has given us this beautiful tool that all of us can use. It's accessible for everyone, but you just have to make the decision as far as what do you really want. If you want freedom, if you want financial, the sky the limit, you want to make a lot of money and you don't want no limits on it, then an evergreen funnel is going to help you get there. I have built $500,000. I've sold $500,000. Okay, on evergreen, on funnels with digital products. If I could do it, you could do it. So one of the things I want to say is I have a special free resource for you that shows you how to set up all the tools that we talked about here, all the tools you need to set up an evergreen funnel and to sell digital products. So, Jamila, I'm sure I know you're going to share.
Yeah, we'll drop it in the show notes for everybody so they can get access to that.
Yeah,
I
and it
love it.
has a bunch of resources, some of the stuff we talked about here, and just really showing you what you need to do to set this up as far as the tech that you need to get this in place. So use that resource. And then, like I said, just mindset, what is important to you. Once you make a decision that, hey, I want to have a freedom lifestyle, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, Alma. I almost just want to end there, but I want to add one thing to what you said that I think is so important, which is the tech. Now, you don't have to be you and I, we geek out on this stuff. Like we love it. We love getting in there, tinkering and figuring
Yep.
it out. But I just want to encourage anybody who doesn't necessarily feel like tech is your thing, you get stuck in the tech, your eyes glaze over. This is still possible for you. Like you can absolutely do this. You can
Oh,
absolutely make it happen. Yep.
let me
Go ahead,
say,
Alma.
so if you do not like tech, okay, then you can hire a virtual assistant to set it up for you. Right, and I know Jamila is really good with that. She outsources all the time, and, so yeah, you don't have to know it yourself, but it's good to just know what's involved. It's good to just know the process, and then you just hire a virtual assistant, and there's so many talented virtual assistants, and you know what? It's really affordable. There's a lot of affordable VAs. I mean, a lot of different flexible options and people that are highly talented, that will set it up for you, and doesn't have to be too expensive.
Love it. All right, Alma, if people want to get in touch with you after the show, where should they go to connect with you?
Okay, go to my website, almabradford.com. And on my website, I have a bunch of free resources that you can download to help you, number one, sell digital products. And number two, if you want to sell services, I also have training on that. Go there, follow me on Instagram, Alma J. Bradford, on Facebook, Alma J. Bradford as well. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Awesome. And Alma does the best stories. So make sure that you check her out on Instagram. I love watching her stories. They're always like fun and super informative. So thank you so much for being with me today, Alma. So glad to have you on the show. And as much as we sort of talk behind the scenes, it's been great to kind of let breadwinners peer into the kind of conversations that we're often having at ways to be able to grow and leverage our businesses.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Jamila.